Hi, I'm Liwen's son. The archaeological site I will be talking about today is Market Street, Chinatown. Basics. Market Street, Chinatown is located in the intersection of Market and San Fernando Streets. It is in downtown San Jose, California. Market Street, Chinatown was first occupied in the 1860s by Chinese immigrants that moved to California for job opportunities. When the American economy weakened, the Chinese workers were treated with discrimination, which caused them to move to neighborhood sanctuary to form a community and support each other. The place that they gathered is what is known as Market Street, Chinatown today. During the 19th century, a large majority of immigrants are from Guangdong. The picture on the bottom right is what the main street of Market Street, Chinatown looks like in 1851. Site formation. There were occupants of Chinese immigrants, businesses, a temple, and a theater until a fire that burned Chinatown down to the ground in 1887. It is believed that the fire was likely set by arson people with the intention of driving Chinese immigrants out of San Jose, California. The burnt layer was able to preserve the site. After a century, Chinatown underwent urban redevelopment. Fairmont Hotel and Silicon Valley Financial Center was built there. Around the same time, the site was also excavated by Archaeological Resource Service with a request from the City of Redevelopment Agency. Today, Chinatown has developed into a culturally distinctive neighborhood. Many activities happen here, such as dance, music groups, children orchestra, a Chinese cultural center, and Chinese Historical Society of America is also located here. Important archaeologists. Archaeological Resource Service conducted excavation around 1980s. It was an academic dig as the primary goal was to categorize the materials so it can serve as a basis for future research or for other educational purposes. After the dig, the artifacts were left there without much analysis going on. Finally, in 2002, Professor Barbara Voss started the Market Street Chinatown project to analyze the stuff in 2002. The main goal is to discover and understand the context of what happened in the past through artifacts. Another notable archaeologist that has worked on this site is Dr. Linda Scott Cummings from Archaeobotany Department of Paleo Research Institute. Her work involves analyzing pollen, phytolith, and starch to analyze diet from the past. Finally, Dr. Virginia Popper has also contributed greatly by carefully examining ethnic differences in plant use at the site. Stakeholders. The stakeholders are mainly Chinese Americans. This involves both local and descendant populations. Researchers have been consulting people living at the site. Local Chinese Americans are working together with archaeologists to discover more about the past. On the right is a picture of Society for California Archaeology meeting. This is an example of an event where not only archaeologists come together to discuss progress, but also a time where they seek public opinions and take them into account. Understanding. One of the things archaeologists have learned is Chinese dishes were Americanized quite a bit to best utilize available ingredients and to improve the recipes. The artifact that provided clues for this are the earliest English language Chinese cookbooks, which happen to be around 20th century. The material is paper and ink. The methods used includes analyzing the cookbooks and comparing it with existing data from archaeobotany, such as plant residue analysis. One of the particular interesting ways archaeologists use to learn is through analyzing the dishes in the cookbooks. Dr. Virginia Popper led a research where she observed the number of total ingredients in a dish versus the number of what is considered Chinese ingredients in the same dish. She found in a book titled The Chinese Book that there are 90 ingredients but only 50 considered Chinese. This knowledge changed our understanding of the past by showing that Chinese food is flexible in adapting new things. It shows Chinese Americans were open to American ideas and that there was a blend of culture going on. Another thing archaeologists have learned is that the past violence that happened due to the anti-Chinese sentiment. The artifact being studied is the trash left behind from Chinatown, burnt materials such as bone, glass, and ceramic. The method being used includes analyzing materials from archives combined with excavating new materials. This knowledge changed our understanding because it gives insight into the terrible consequences that happen due to racism. It has historical importance as it helps us think about how to prevent the same mistake from happening twice. Future directions. If I am an archaeologist, I would be interested in the education level or English literacy level of Chinese immigrants that moved to Market Street, Chinatown. My research question would be, how educated were 19th century Chinese immigrants at Market Street, Chinatown? I would conduct analysis on written records from past excavations, such as magazines, newspapers, school textbooks, and other books children and adults were reading. Since the education level is to an extent related to the standard of living, this will allow me to get a glimpse of the standard of living of the Chinese immigrants or Chinese Americans. Conclusion. In conclusion, the arson fire that happened is crucial to both the history of Market Street Chinatown and the site formation processes. The Market Street Chinatown project has contributed greatly to our understanding of what happened in the past. Through a lot of research, there are evidence for how Chinese and American culture blended through food. Finally, many artifacts discovered on the site remind us of the detrimental consequences of racism. This is my bibliography. Thank you for listening to my presentation.